Soon there will be nothing left of this world except me, the Lord of the Flies, here to teach you that you must never trust capitalists again. Alright, I'm not really Lord of the Fries. Hey, I'm Brento. I'm here to play video games. Let me just take this off. I don't know why I did that. I introduce props. I'll screw up my lines. I'll say Lord of the Fries and then I'll roll with it. So here we are back in Dump City playing our virtual communist society, the video game Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. We're good 20 years into the game now. We had a fire here. Here's something strange. I had a fire at this sawmill here, and I wanted to start the episode with the fire in the background, so it'd be all scary and stuff for the start of the show. And then when I load the save, there's no fire animating. So maybe the fire will resume when I hit play again. But before we get into that, before you can watch this thing burn to the ground, I got to tell you what's in the show. See, this is how I do it here. You want to watch this thing burn to the ground, and while you're doing that, you'll at least listen to what's in the show, and maybe you'll find something interesting. You'll listen longer. You won't go and say, oh, I want to listen to some other show now, some other content creator with more interesting stuff. How on earth could this show be interesting for this long? Like, I can barely watch 3 minutes of a regular show, let alone, 2 hours of this stuff? But perhaps some of my topics will be interesting to you. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the new number one rule for a UBI system that makes sense. So that'll be in the show. There's going to be a competition announcement. This episode I've been planning for a while, this Lord of the Flies. And what I want to do is see how long people can argue in comments for it. So part of it is who can have the longest stretch of comments debating a topic, whatever it is. Maybe UBI, maybe that's controversial. Maybe some of you think it doesn't make sense. Maybe some of you aren't fully educated on the alternatives, the opportunity cost, what is happening now versus what could be happening. I.e., it's better to give, some poor people money so that they can work rather than rich people money so that they can create unnecessary work, right? That's a pretty logical and obvious reasoning, but a lot of people don't know that. So comment below if you disagree with that. I discovered a new mechanic in the game, prison workers. You can get prison workers to work in this game. I'll show you how later in the show. A new eco-friendly way to deal with ants in the house. And I'll tell you about that. It's also a fun way to deal with ants. I have an idea on how to get more homeless people to work. Well, some homeless people to work. Again, I come up with some ideas for society. Some of it's legitimate. Some of it's fun, right? And if you don't listen, you're not going to know. And if it's dumb and fun, well, at least it's funny, right? At least it's entertainment. It's something. Comedians exist, right? People are very angry with the powers that be. There's a lot of protests going on. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Historically, that's led to revolution. If you think this generation's the magic generation that will never revolt, these happen all the time, everywhere. Humans are humans, and when some humans oppress others, revolutions are wake-up calls. But what I have for this situation is an alternative to a bloody revolution. If negotiations are done, harmony can be achieved. Finally, on the show, we're going to I've figured out a new way to get more out of smoking cigarettes. But without further ado, let's get back into the game here. Let me get my cursor back in, moving the world around. I'll show you the status of this fire mill, or the sawmill. Progress of the fire, 83%. So this was a bad fire. It went really ramped up. I sent 3 fire trucks to it, and I have 15 active firefighters. Like, I just got here in time. They just arrived. I don't know what's going to happen. Is it enough? Like, this bar was just going up really fast. Then it kind of stopped at 83%. I hit save. And that's the start of the show. So let's have a watch of this to see what happens. Oh, look, okay, now it reanimates. This is the intro I wanted. Oh, look at that. You're not getting it burnt down, but you still get a good fire. Look at that. That was a big fire. Our economy's not ruined. If you're disappointed in that, well, I'm sorry. And there was no one working. Why wouldn't they go to work during the fire? Come on. So we survived that. You got to see a bit of a fire. Other things going on in the world. There's a few concepts going on in this game as we play through. So one of the other reasons this is called the Lord of the Flies, I've marked several dumper trucks. Oh my God, there's some problems here. I might have launched some projects, but just before hitting save here too. I sometimes edit the world and prep it up to do a show so it goes without issues. You know, see these dumpers? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I think 4 is over here. There's 7 dumpers in the world. And there's a lot of vehicles that are getting old and in poor condition, and they're going to get scrapped. This is the end of the world for them. Right now, I haven't been able to get enough workers to show up in the zone. The question is, am I going to be able to scrap all the vehicles that I marked for scrapping in the episode? And are all 7 dumpers going to get scrapped? Another thing, we're going to be doing a little bit of demolishing. The theme is we're getting rid of the old and bringing in the new, right? That's the concept. And if you've been studying the series, you understand a thing about economics. You know, look at places like Germany, Japan, places that got destroyed in World War II. They're very successful afterwards. So the question is why? Why would a culture that gets bombed out be more successful as a result? And I believe it's because the cost of legacy is more expensive than the cost of innovation. And when you are forced to throw away the old, you leave space for the new and a better to take over. So in this world, we're kind of going to get rid of some old buildings and some old vehicles sort of in the background, while certain things get built in the foreground. In terms of other things going on, we're kind of out of medical research projects. We're working on the chain to get automobiles built in the future. We're going to get some Western country tourist visas here. Nothing terribly exciting in terms of technology. I began creating this apartment complex here between episodes. So we'll see if we can get this built during the show. I also like to have at least one thing getting built as a bit of a challenge. Part of the theme too of this episode is austerity. Like the reason we're demolishing things is because we got to save on costs. In the previous episode, our borrowing power was about $500,000. I've gotten up to 900,000, but I've really limited how much I've been spending in the last year. So one of the secrets to making money is to not spend money. But we are running low on housing, and I wanted to create these 2 apartment buildings here, and I'm going to name them on the show here. This is La Di Da Apartment number 1. And this is going to be La Di Da Apartment number 2. And the reason is these are the new high quality buildings. These are this is a 93% quality building. It's the second best one we can build, and it has the most people that can fit it. Like it's the bigger of the 2. There's only 2, I believe, that go over 90%. We'll save some of the 96% ones for the super duper rich area. But this is still the nicest apartment building built in the world, and it will be built out of the scraps of the old. In terms of our track building, connecting to China, our track builder in the last episode, if you saw it, they're constantly getting jammed up. But as the network's expanded a bit, it seems like they don't step on each other's toes so much anymore. They're kind of working on their thing, heading towards Dump City and Soviet Los Angeles here. We won't get this connected this episode, but maybe in an episode or 2, we'll finally have our rail network going all the way around. Just a big zoom out of the area here. Again, this isn't to scale. I just name US cities relatively positioned, and it's a little hard to see at night here. We've been building our Los Angeles city mainly. They're the only ones that have switched to communism here. Not much has changed in Houston. Again, if you follow series, they sell cows, they sell oil, they make money, and we convert that money to US dollars. Well, they make rubles, right? Our rubles account, and again, this is just as important a status update as anything else. We have almost $7 million in borrowing power, so things are going good there. I'm not worried about going over the fiscal cliff in rubles. Just so we're clear here, there are some buildings in US dollars that cost this much money. like close to $1 million. So we can't be building anything too crazy. You can't be building a TV station or electronics factory just yet. We're going to have to salvage some things. And throughout the episode, I'm just going to find some things and start salvaging them and see if we can get them all salvaged in one episode. So just check over the basics here. Do they got food? They got clothes? Not enough clothes, but we can't make clothes faster. We don't have enough workers showing up for these buildings here. I suspect there's a fire station issue somewhere. There is. Look at that. See, whenever you have a fire, if you do this, you got to remember to go back. All your workers will become firefighters if you don't tell them otherwise. So that was causing massive unemployment indirectly. And maybe that is a way to kind of, replicate the consequences of a fire. But we can't play the whole episode without enough workers. So good thing I checked on that. I want to make sure we get some of these vehicles destroyed on time here. So let's just grab a couple and then I'll go on to one of my random topics. Maybe it'll be UBI, maybe it'll be, and you can argue with me or whatever. So I actually made a little cheat sheet here of places to find them, to find old vehicles. And first on my list is the bus routes, to see if there's any buses that are okay. Okay, 60%, we found one right away. That has 6 workers on it. This one here, oh, this one's old. It's 23 years old, but it's 28% wear and tear, so it ain't gonna get scrapped yet. But this one is 60% wear and tear. It's due to be repaired soon. And one thing I do once I get to see a vehicle that's over 18 years old, I set the repair threshold to 90% so that it doesn't get repaired. Because, what's the point of repairing something just before you scrap it, right? Let's see where it is. Oh, it's pretty far away. I wonder what happens to the workers if I send it to the scrapyard with the workers in it. I don't think the workers get crushed. Let's just grab like 3 vehicles. Try to find 3 vehicles right now. Oh, I tried to unload it, but it unloaded and reloaded so fast. But you know what? I'm just going to send it over here. You're getting scrapped. That's it. That's one gone. This is the Lord of the Flies. This is the end of the road. These would have been some of the original vehicles to start the series. With our fairly new scrapyard here, we're going to have to get rid of some. Let's see if we can grab a couple more here. This one here, 17 years old, 38%. Nope. How about this one here? What do we got? 20 years. Ooh, this one just meets it and it's empty. So we're going to have to put a replacement for, this is LA Transit 3. This is the only bus. It's the only one doing LA Transit 3 service. But it's got to get scrapped. The cost of legacy is too much. The maintenance will be too much. But can we find a replacement for that? Maybe. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Maybe we could send one of these LA Transit 6 buses on it instead. Okay, what's this? Oh, this one's almost ready to be scrapped. This one might get scrapped by the end of the episode, so because it's at 39%. This one's going to get scrapped. Wow, these are all going to get scrapped. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a new one. Just because we're going to need some new buses here. And I'm going to get these fast ones. Yeah, so this one here is going to replace all the buses on... Because it's bigger, it's faster, and it has way more capacity. It will be our new bus. Let's grab that. Out with the old, in with the new, right? And we'll send this guy over here for now. This is sort of my holding parking lot right now when the main one fills up. Let's press play again. And we're going to get our transit line 3 and see if we can catch it as it's coming out here. And we're going to make this transit line 3. Sorry, I want to make this transit line 6. Never mind, I did that wrong. I got confused while I was talking. Yeah, this new bus will be transit line 6. Where did it go? Here it is. Yeah, we'll grab that. Make sure that's the right one. It's on 3. Yeah, we'll make this one 6. And we will make one of the ones on 6 into 3. If there's any that are eligible. Wow, this one's ready to go too. This one only has passengers on it, not workers. And as you know, passengers don't go to work. They're just there to go to the cinema, go watch sports, you know, watch Dump City at the theater. That's the kind of things that people that are passengers do. So we'll send them to the scrapyard. So we don't need more of those. Okay. So that's one of, and oh, sorry, I should make sure when I send it to the scrapyard, I want to make sure the lines are erased so it doesn't show up again. We're going to maybe have some bus issues at the end of the episode, but let's get all these here before I can rant on about another topic. This one here, 20 years. This guy's still alive. Let's make this guy. Okay, we'll find him. Okay, because we don't have a line 3 right now. It's maybe a little bit too confusing early in the episode, but don't worry. I'll go on to unrelated tangents in just a moment. Just a moment. I want to just set this up so that the premise of the episode is going on in the background. Maybe I can do this while talking about the first topic. So the first topic of the show is, and the most interesting one, of course, how to get rid of ants in a fun and eco-friendly way. So this is something I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes you'll have ants in your house and you'll be like, how do I get all these ants out of my house? You know, they're annoying. I don't like ants walking around and, you know, eating stuff or whatever they do. Maybe they chew through wood. Maybe they're carpenter ants. But I figured out an eco-friendly way and a fun way to deal with them. And the idea is to squash them and just leave them where they are. Don't squash them and throw them in the garbage or something. You squash them and leave them in spot. And what will happen inevitably is other ants will show up and they will pick up the ant. And I think it sends a message to the other ants that don't go here. Especially leave their corpses exactly where you don't want the ants to be. And it's kind of fun too. Like I could literally squash an ant and just have my phone ready to record. And within a few hours, another ant will show up. It'll see the ant and it will carry the other ant all the way back to the colony for whatever reason. And this has got to be a lot of unneeded energy that they waste to do this kind of stuff. And eventually in areas where I squash an ant, I don't see ants anymore. And I know there's ant poisons out there, which, you know, if you have cats or dogs, you don't want to be putting poison around to get rid of ants. It's kind of a big deal, right? But one of the things I've been doing for years, whenever dealing with ants, is of course squashing them and let the other ants see. And it seems to work. Like eventually the ants will go away. So a bit of a pro tip from Brento in terms of how to deal with ants. And it's fun too. I don't know if it works with other bugs, so I think they just don't care. It's just ants it seems to work with. All right. Yeah, so we had an earthquake just there. We've had an earthquake like 2-3 episodes apart, but maybe this isn't that unusual. Maybe we had a long lucky string without earthquakes. We don't have our fire helicopter yet, but we don't have enough money for one anyway. So let's see how we do with the fires here and see if we get any bad ones here. And as always, you know, always do a save right before you start dealing with an earthquake, just in case your entire game's ruined. And you didn't want it to be ruined just yet. Let's see what we get here. Let's see what's on fire. What's on fire? A whole bunch. Okay, let's pause here. Let's just go through our messages really quick. This is going to eat up into our... okay, we just built this. So we have a few newer, higher quality high-rises in the city now. Like these two just got built and this one here, because all the other ones are full. But this one appears to be on fire. So let's send 2 fire trucks to that one and see if we can see anything else that's on fire that's of any urgency. Usually it's houses. Okay, that's another one that I'd rather not lose. We didn't get as lucky this time. Last time we had an earthquake, it was just a bunch of houses. We'll send 2 to that one. Let's see, come on, house, another house. Oh, an apartment building again. Okay, we'll send 2 to that one. There. And come on, not another main building. Okay, ooh, that's not a good one either. The heat pump. We'll see. We'll see how well this works. We'll send 2 to that. It's a little further out at the heat pump here. Where is it? There it is. And what about this here? Another heat pump. Wow, we got all buildings. Okay, we're probably going to lose something here. So let's see how this goes. Another one. Every single one of these is a major building. This is pretty bad. Actually, I probably should have just sent 1 to that one. Let's see here. Any of them? Oh, again, that one I don't care as much. Actually, I'm not going to... That building's been empty most of the game. I'm just going to let that one burn down. Worry about it later. If the fire trucks get to it, they get to it. And that's not considered arson. Okay. Yeah, let's... the mall's pretty important. Yeah, let's send 2 to that. Every building got targeted. This one here, we'll send 1 to that one. I don't even know if, like, we can send this much out. How come they're all in this zone here? Okay, that we don't care about. Let's send some out from here, too. Let's see if these guys are going to fires. Is there any left in this fire hall? As long as this fire hall's empty, we're good. Okay, we'll just keep an eye on things here. Yeah, it's emptying out. Like, presumably they're doing something useful. This one, I think, had 2 fire trucks. While they're doing this, they got to multitask. This wasn't scheduled in the show. We got to continue to scrap vehicles. What do we got here? LA Transit 4's got to get scrapped. So we'll mark that for scrapping. And let's check this out here. I think we will relocate one of these buses. Okay, this one here is definitely getting scrapped right now. I want to send this thing out here. Just scrap it. How are we doing for fires? Yeah, we gotta get the big ones, the malls. The mall can't be lost. The mall can't be lost. Actually, maybe there's enough exciting stuff going on in the show that, like, unnecessary distractions are not needed. Let's check out the fires getting dealt with. Gotta make sure all the trucks. See, this fire department, I gotta make sure is doing the key ones. It's probably putting out fires that aren't that important, but ones it should put out. Okay, I think this one's relatively close to it. And maybe this one here is relatively close to it. And I think this one here, same thing. Let's go with that. And yeah, this one's fairly close to it. Whatever. And then the fire station over here can deal with the ones on the north side of the city here. See how that goes. Okay, let me just double check to see if my transit... Oh yeah, I never got to scrap it yet. Let's keep an eye on it. Once it gets to work, it's going to the scrap yard. This will be the last delivery it makes. It's the end of the road. And then we'll do a quick check on whether our vehicles are getting scrapped. None of our workers are showing up. Now, you know what? Maybe none of them will get scrapped. If you had none as on the bingo card, looks like you would have won that one. Okay, we got a fire truck there. This one, I don't care. Oh, why is there 2? I want the university halls to burn down. It's been empty like for most of the series. Okay, but we lost a building because it went to the wrong one. Oh, we didn't need that one to get demolished. Okay. Actually, this is the other part of the show. We're going to start doing some demolitions. I'm going to have to do some pausing shortly. The mall's okay. This one definitely... What do we got here? Well, it's going out, I guess. I didn't want that one to... I didn't want to lose that kindergarten. It was kind of a good one. Let's assign FEMA to it. And we will clean that up. There's a few others I want to demolish here. Oh, this is a brand new building, too. Not enough firefighters for all vehicles. Okay. Okay, this one... Oh, it might have it under control. Why does this not... What? I'm at a loss for words. Where did our workers go? Is it they're stuck at other fire stations? Maybe. Maybe we shouldn't have so many at this one. Maybe they're... where is everyone? Where did they go? They just stopped working. Maybe some of them died in this one here. It's possible. I don't know how they couldn't deal with that one. That one was like one of the closest locations. Let's see if we can get this one under control. By the way, our population is at an all-time high. It went up about 170 year over year. So we're still growing a bit. Oh my god, we got 5 fire trucks. Yeah, I don't know what that button means. Is the fire... There are fire... It's going down slowly. That's a big one. What is this one here? Yeah, it looks like... Oh, and they waste... what a waste to go to the university hall as a residence. What a waste. But now we can send more. Yeah, I think it's under control here. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. We lost our kindergarten. We had a lot of key buildings, like the mall. That would have been disaster. I'm gonna pause here because now we have to deal with removal of some waste here. I gotta get some garbage trucks to do that. So let's see if we can find some that are hauling garbage in the area. Actually, we have a route here called Auto Ash. Let's grab that guy. See if he's empty. Oh, he is empty right on time. So we'll send him to FEMA. And we'll send... Let's see here. We don't have any ash to deal with. So we'll send this guy from Ash R Us to FEMA as well. I don't know where our workers are. I think we need those la-di-da apartments to be built in order to have enough workers. Let's check that out. What's the progress of this? It's gonna be hard to build these both with demolition going on, right? This would be a bit of a challenge. Got to make sure we're not getting citizens. We don't want to pay for citizens. We're trying to, you know, save money here and not go over the fiscal cliff here. You know what? Let's take a break from the game here. This has been too hectic. I got to go over the topics here. We're falling behind in the show. And I want to talk about how to save money on smokes. So, as you know, I smoke sometimes. And I've been trying to taper it down to just half a smoke a day. But the problem is when I have half a smoke a day, I have to put it out and part of the cigarette, like, it gets wasted in ash. And then once it gets near the filter, I don't, like, usually don't want to smoke the filter. You let it go out sooner. But I've discovered a way to make a cigarette last longer, especially if you smoke it in 2 parts. And that is if you, like, just lick your finger a bit and just put it around the edge of the cigarette so it's, like, wet on the paper so that it doesn't burn that part of the paper. It will actually kind of, like, just let the tobacco itself burn. And then you're wasting less tobacco when you smoke this way. So if you're really poor like me and you're healthily smoking cigarettes, half a cigarette at a time, you're saving money. It's just burning more of the tobacco, and then you can get closer to the filter too. So if cigarettes cost a lot of money where you live, you know, maybe you're spending $1-2 per cigarette. Some places in the world, that's how much a cigarette costs. It's very, very marked up in price, especially places that have free healthcare. Yeah, there you go. Save some money on cigarettes. Okay, so what I want to do here is, okay, there's a few areas in this world where these little houses, they're in bad locations. So I want to blow them up. Here's one of them. See this one here? Look at this sidewalk. Imagine if they could get into this sidewalk here. And this whole area could connect in, but it can't because of this one house. So bye-bye, we're going to demolish it. And then we'll assign a demolition office, and that will be FEMA, of course. Actually, that's within Houston range, but I don't think we have any vehicles in the Houston demolition office. We're going to teach these people not to have houses in the wrong place. Look at these jerks. These people living in a nice little house downtown in the most expensive property. These people are so arrogant. Like, and look at this. They don't look at the sidewalk paths. They can't even get out of their apartment on this side. Like, imagine if they could connect in through here, like with a route to go directly into, actually let's do this a little nicer. Maybe more of a diagonal line from here. That would be kind of neat. Maybe with a little bend at the end. Yeah, like that, around the garbage. And then they can go all the way out here. This really extends the church range. Like right now, can these people get to church? Let's see, can they get to church? Yeah, they can. But I don't think anyone further out can get to church. And I don't know if they can get to the swimming pool from here. Let's see, no, they can't. So I think this house, it makes everyone have to go around and around here just for one little house. So I think we're going to get rid of it. How dare these people build a house right in front of progress? So selfish. And I want to get rid of this path a bit here, or at least I want to reshape it a bit. Blow this up, and I want to redo this area. And we'll have a nice little path network here. So this will go straight into it, and we'll connect it with these here. They all sort of don't make sense. So this is the austerity measures. We're cutting costs, and we're improving things too, right? The best way for an economy to improve is to tax the rich, as everyone actually knows. I've explained that previously. I think I might do another re-explainer of that for anyone who doesn't understand the scam, like the targeting of the economies, where instead of the rich developing the economy of goods for the poor, they develop the economy of goods for the rich, and they use the housing as assets, which is absolute, it's counterproductive. You know, people say, oh, salaries went up a bit, but the cost of things go up faster because we don't tax the rich, and it's for that reason. A better measure is to tax the rich, force them to make cuts, and give that money to the poor so that they can manage their economy, or at least give it to the government, which then builds housing for the poor, something like that. You know, they could buy my house, real life, buy my house. Hopefully some communists take over, make it public housing. I'm done with maintaining a house. It's nothing but a scam. It's just a big lie. Maybe earthquakes are fun to watch, but they're not fun for me because they're not part of the script. Let's just see if there's any fires. I don't see any smoke anywhere. We should reset our fire crews again. Yeah, that's a bit too many. We're going to have problems in the rest of the economy if everyone's a firefighter, unfortunately. It's just not good to have everyone do the same job in society. There are some people who are just very arrogant about their profession, and they think that I am the only one who can do my profession, but that's not true. That's you've been sold lies. You're not special. Everyone can do your job. That's a spoiler alert. Almost everyone can do everyone else's job. And anyone could do what I'm doing here. This is literally just me playing a video game and talking. This could be one of the easiest jobs there is. But same can be said for your job. Just this idea that you think you have a special job, that you're irreplaceable. I imagine if you're a brain surgeon, you might not be watching this show. In which case, maybe you are hard to replace. So anyone else who's listening, generally, it's true that you can be replaced. You know, you're president of the United States. You could be replaced with thousands of people. It's not that difficult. It's the environment that creates the job, not the person. We had 3 vehicles here. Those same 3 are still there. I don't know if any vehicles are going to get salvaged here. This will go on for maybe multiple episodes. Maybe I'll put 3 workers in here, and then we can watch to see how long it takes. I think we're going to get an additional waste truck here to FEMA. Oh, and we need a covered haul truck. Let's see if we got a spare one somewhere. I made this new distribution office here called Top Notch. We actually have more distribution offices than we kind of need right now. Ones we have here, they're kind of getting a little it's the types of trucks that are being used in them. It's this one has waste trucks in it. This one here has meat trucks in it, and this one has covered hull. But before the covered hull, we're kind of mixing with the other ones, and there's only 5 truck slots, so And this has to kind of service our entire city to get it food and alcohol. Well, here's another building I was working on here. This is also a la-di-da style apartment. We don't want to get citizens though. And we don't want we don't want uneducated ones here. We want educated people with a bit of loyalty move into that. We'll see how that works. How are we doing for buses here? Okay, we only have one bus, but you know, let's cheat a little bit. Let's see if we can, just because it's such a waste. We're short on buses. Let's put them here. This is why I'm a pro gamer. You see, this is why. This is what I do. I solve problems, right? So we have a couple here that aren't as dirty as the other buses, but at least this way we know where they are later, so we can put them to work. Actually, maybe they can rot a bit here because these are not getting dealt with as fast as I thought they would. But we had some distractions in the episode, so the game plan's been adjusted a little bit here. So we got a few extra buses here. Where are they getting their workers from? They're getting them from the cinema bus stop. Are there a lot of workers there? Not too many. What about here? There's none there. Is there a better spot over here? Let's see. Well, okay, there was some there, but now that's empty. So our bus service is still, it appears to be reasonably good. What about here? Ooh, we don't have enough here. So maybe we could get some from there too. It's just for a bit, right? This is a temporary job. And we'll see how that works. While we do that, maybe we'll set a backdrop. Maybe I'll just talk. Maybe I'll set a shoreline here. I haven't talked about UBI yet. And I think a lot of people have an opinion on that. I think most, oh, I didn't even notice this. We did lose a heat exchanger. Okay, that has to be dealt with too. Yeah, we should grab ourselves an extra mixed waste vehicle here. Yeah, let's grab another one. There's a lot, like, the nice thing about it is we're paying for this mixed waste at the customs house, but in actual fact, we have a bunch of free stuff here. It's not like, don't get me wrong, we're losing money. When stuff gets demolished like that, it's bad for the economy because the rebuild cost will be more expensive. But we have a pretty robust construction office system, so it won't be an issue to get it rebuilt. We might even be able to rebuild these within the episode. I'm that confident. Unless, of course, I demolish too many vehicles. Oh, hold on here. I've got to pause. I just found a lucrative area on my list. Brento's list of vehicles to get demolished. Snowplows, I just noticed, are on number 2 in the list. And this is the time to demolish them. I know there's a bunch here that are going to... Okay, this one is 32% wear and tear. Oh, you know what? I'm going to cheat here because this is an exception. Because this is a crappy snowplow. And we have way too many snowplows right now. Like, I already started buying the replacement ones. 32%. Man, you know what? 38%. Okay, this will be the threshold. Let's say 38%. Because a snowplow is not of any use right now. So we're going to send some snowplows to their funeral. Again, these would have been bought in the first... If you're like a sentimental kind of person, you're like, you know, you don't like to see things die in video games for whatever reason, which makes no sense because like video games literally teach you how to kill. Like that, you're rewarded for like killing things in most video games. It's quite disturbing if you think about it. So we'll just send 2 of them for now, and you got to do this from time to time in your game too. This one, yes. Well, and the nice thing is we'll have a bunch of slots. You know, like all these facilities, I have more vehicles than facility slots. And they're often in parking lots, and I move them around. But this will get rid of some of the noise. And I'll just go over here. What's this? 39%. Again, we're bending our rule a little bit because it's a snowplow. Just not too useful in summer. There's some other snowplows, but I think like these are all upgraded. Like these are all, Mr. Plow has all fast, you know, they're all 90 kilometer or faster in good condition snowplows. Let's play a little bit here. Oh yeah, let's check for garbage trucks that are also very old and very crappy condition. Oh, this one here. This one here. is doing something. Doing something. This one's going to get scrapped. See, the other thing too with your vehicles, the older ones, it's the top speed. They'll pass you if they can on the highways, but not right away. So quite often, slow vehicles just slow down everything around it. So you want to get them off the road. Cost of legacy is more expensive than the cost of innovation, right? The cost of progress. And again, old money capitalists do not want anything to ever change. So this is why, if you live in a capitalist nation, why things are falling behind the socialist nations. It's because these people are the policymakers and they're just very, very selfish people. And that's the thing I've learned in my lifetime. And I've watched it get worse in my lifetime. Like, they were selfish when I was younger, but they've gotten more selfish over the years, which is quite disturbing. And, you're starting to see it impact real life scenarios. So it's important to not endorse, whenever you vote for someone, don't vote for someone that's backed by a large company. Unless that company happens to be like a new modern technology company that is clearly progressive. Maybe they make electric vehicles, maybe they invest in solar panels, like actual things that make economic sense. Because, like, as you know, renewables are more economical than fossil fuels. It's just a money thing. And that's the biggest lie of all. That's one of the most maddening things about those who are anti-renewables and anti-clean energy, is that they think we're doing it because we want the clean energy. No, that's not the reason. It's because it's actually cheaper. It really is. Look up levelized cost of energy. And solar panels and wind are one and two. And this considers all things. Like the cost of the plastic inside the wind turbine. That's all calculated in the cost. They calculate how long it lasts. And it includes things that in fossil fuels, like, as we play this game, there's a cost to move fossil fuels. Like, I have a distribution office in this game specifically tasked with getting fuel to the gas stations, and that's a cost. Like, that wasn't free. And the oil companies never tell you about these other costs. Sometimes they like to pass these costs into your tax dollars. You got to pay property taxes for the pipes to your street. Then you might have other municipal taxes that pay for pipes between cities, however they transport it. But they externalize the costs and put it into your tax dollar, and then they say the remaining cost is cheaper. When it's so misleading because of that. But the LCOE factors that in. And if you look it up, renewables are cheaper and they're cleaner. So that's the cost of legacy. You're just being duped by greedy capitalists. Like, they know they're misleading you when they do this. Fossil fuels are the old technology and they need to be replaced. Okay, let's check if there's any ambulances here. Do we have any old ambulances? We seem to have a surplus of ambulances. Oh, they look like they're fairly good. I'm going to cross the ambulances off. I think I went over the ambulances and the police and all that between episodes, but I think there's already a couple that could be marked for demolition. They might actually already be in here. Oh yeah, there's an ambulance there. Well, I have a police car that's getting repaired, so there's no police cars yet. And I think I'll wait on our fire trucks. That requires a bit more thought. Fire trucks are pretty expensive, so we don't want to be scrapping those hastily. Things like the buses, though, are fairly straightforward. Let's see if there's any more buses we can find that are a little up there in age. This one here, 21 years. Oh my god, this one, LA Transit 8. Yeah, this bus needs to get scrapped. This one's way too old. So we'll send it over to here and remove its line. I think I'm actually going to, between episodes, formally plan the metro line, like the final blueprint for it. That's going to take quite a while on pause, so I'll do that. And what do we got here? LA Transit 5. Oh, this one's bad too. 5 and 8 need new buses. So 5 is getting sent to the scrapyard while it's empty. You don't want to send buses to the scrapyard with, passengers and workers in them. It's generally, I don't know how that works. I assume they know to get out, right? But we're going to have to find a replacement for 5 and 8 real quick here. I'm going to have to do that on the show here because the city will fall apart. It's the butterfly effect. When you have one problem somewhere, it chains to the rest of the world here. Like if your food production's too high and you haven't laid off workers like you should be, you get inefficiencies, right? Then there's other jobs not getting, they're not showing up for work. They're actually, let's turn that down even further. You have too many, maybe. Too many people here. It's only 9%. Let's make this guy, let's put him on 5. We have no bus on 5 right now. So we'll do this here. We'll get this bus. This guy was waiting to get repaired, but he's not in too bad condition. Maybe another small one can do it too. Yeah, you know what we could also do? I know of another place where there's some buses we could grab. So I'm going to pause real quick. This guy here is going to go to here. And then we'll make this guy LA Transit 5. This is a big bus, right? This could be a permanent solution for LA Transit 5. And now this micro bus will go to the construction office. There we go, right? We'll do a swapperoo. And that should help with the buses. There's probably some I could look over later, but I think we've done enough of that for the show. It can get a little bit boring if I do the same thing for too long. We got to get into other topics of the show. We're running out. I'm going to talk about, let's talk about the competition right now. So in this episode, I want to have a competition, and this is also a check to see who listens this far, who listens an hour into a show. It is a competition to see who can have the longest thread of responses. Now, it's not the number of replies that win you this tournament. You will be the Lord of the Flies. And I might put it in the description, the current leader. I'll check now and then. But it's the longest response thread. And I'll probably engage in some of these. Like I'll just say, what do you mean? Explain yourself. Tell me more. Or I might have a counterpoint and argue with you. Maybe other people will jump in and argue with you. And I'm not necessarily going to check on it every day. I have a lot of, like, hundreds of videos that I have to look over. Now and then, maybe every few months, I'll see who the Lord of the Flies is. This is an ongoing thing. This is a unique episode in that I expect this episode to have the most comments, the most people fighting to be Lord of the Flies. And it's the longest sequence of replies. It's like, I say something, you reply to it. The most continuous replies there is. So it's not number of different people that reply to you have to do it. This is on you to do it. And it can't be silly either. If I see you're just doing gaming the system and playing dumb, it has to be a legitimate argument. And we'll see who gets declared Lord of the Flies. So that's going to be a competition on the Lord of the Flies video. Only the Lord of the Flies episode counts. The longest back and forth argument thread, and you might be the winner. You might get like eight of them going. You might have 8 back and forths. And then a year later and say, wait a second, UBI is a bad idea. And they'll argue against it foolishly. Because if you argue against UBI, you're going to lose. All you can do is give up. That's your only option. So we'll see who can go the longest. Let's see how our buildings are going. Thank God we have these tall construction towers. TC2 tower cranes. Like, this could literally be the difference between winning and losing in realistic mode. So we got this little off-ramp here. And this little... Oh, I want to build this here too. See how easy this is. We'll make that a low priority. See how these other buildings are doing. Any of these... Are these demolished? Yet? No, not yet. Not yet. We'll make it high priority. The garbage supply vehicles are the bottleneck for demolition here. This is, in a way, we could say this is an episode about FEMA. You can almost call this the FEMA episode. I've also noticed people are very unhappy in the Snobville apartments. So I think I'm going to have to work on that. Like, I just assume these rich, educated people are happy, but I didn't realize they could be miserable if you treat them poorly, like we do in our Soviet Los Angeles. I've been so pro-worker that I ignored the feelings of the educated. And these are supposed to be, in theory, they're supposed to be happier than these people. But we've focused on making the working class so happy that these people are not happy. And they do work too. Like they do the jobs in this part of the city. They do the education jobs, and a lot of them go into work here. So they just got the like kind of the worst situation. There's a lot of people missing in the city here. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the oh, we got this building's at risk of falling down. It could be the pollution makes them not happy in that area. Maybe we got to rethink where our garbage processing facility is located. I just like this Mars 305 bus. It's 105 kilometers an hour, 95 passengers, and it's not super expensive. Like, look at this one, 75 kilometers, 78 passengers. Okay? 105 kilometers, 95 passengers, and it's cheaper. So I just buy these like candy. That's just how it goes. I watch my own show. And I wait. I just sometimes I watch to see how I'm going to screw up, and I do screw up sometimes. I make mistakes. I'm like, am I gonna, borrow that money on time? Because I don't notice it sometimes when I'm talking. So now we have two LA Express 3 lines. That should get some more workers to work. Okay, because I noticed there was quite a few people backlogged here. Okay, let's see how things are going here. La-di-da apartments. They're going to be done by the end of the episode? Maybe. We'll see. These cranes are fast. How are we doing for prefab panels? Any issues? Uh-oh, we're out of prefab panels. Why? Why are we out of prefab panels? It's because everything using prefab panels is probably why. I see, like, it looks like it's well staffed, and it has the materials. We need even more. Let's go up just for now. We'll bring this down later. But I think these la-di-da apartments need a lot of them. These are good apartments. They'll make up for the smell of the neighborhood. Okay, I want to talk about something here. Now that things are a little bit more stabilized in the world. I get a different view here. That's an interesting view. Okay, we'll do that. Let's go with, we got enough money to go a little bit here. There's an alternative to a bloody revolution in America. Like right now, we're in a situation where the rich control things. The rich, therefore, live in an echo chamber, and they believe the problems they have. Even the threat that their grandchildren might have to work a normal job. Like, oh my God, you got to live a normal human's life. Oh my God, right? They're considering that a threat. And when you live in an echo chamber like that and you don't realize that people have to work to earn money, you got to contribute to society. You can't just leech off the poor. And right now, the rich are oppressing the poor more than they ever have in terms of relative human inequality. Because of technology, we should not have poverty anymore. China's proven that poverty can be solved reasonably, right? There are some people with mental issues. I understand that. There are some people traumatized with things in life, and they're not necessarily the best workers. But I'm going to propose a solution to what normally happens here is a bloody revolution. Eventually people just take arms in the local armory and then they go to war with the rich, and it shocks the rich. They're like, what did we do wrong? But here's my alternative to a bloody revolution, and it's called the Schadenfreude equalization. And the idea is that rich people get jobs cleaning for the poor. It's a company where millionaires and billionaires volunteer a certain amount of hours each week, and they just clean for a poor person, someone who might grab a pitchfork and go to war with you. But because the rich will do this, because of the Schadenfreude equalization, the pleasure that people take in other people's misery, the poor people will not want to revolt. And I think this is the solution, the peaceful solution to a bloody revolution. This will ensure harmony for years to come. It will keep things in the balance, and the US as we know it will continue to operate and thrive just because a few rich people were willing to clean for the poor. Like, even go to an immigrant's house, clean their house for them. That's the Schadenfreude equalization. The poor people get to watch a rich person actually earn some money for once in their life. That was a stupid idea. I told you about the alternative to a bloody revolution. I haven't talked about UBI yet. I haven't talked about the prison workers. I'm going to do that shortly. It's a new game mechanic. You know what we got to do? We got to cut jobs in places they're not supposed to be. Okay, this here. Why are we researching bats? That's stupid. We don't. Let's go with a max of 7. Job cuts. That's enough students getting educated. Okay, we got to deal with this because the whole thing's it's gonna be a butterfly effect. Everything's gonna fall apart. Just the job cuts here and there. I think we have too many in the university too. That's another issue. Yeah, way too many. Way too many people at this technical university. It is good they're researching electronic circuits, but let's go up to here. I think this was our biggest culprit right here. Look, all these professors, oh my god. All trying to make their own dump city. Teach the people about economics and the scams of others. And not manning the gravel pits. You know, if I could make the same amount of money working at a gravel pit, I think I would. All things considered. And again, I've worked on the oil rigs. One of the things I never liked about oil rigs is I had to get all my own stuff. I had to get my own car, my own hard hat, my own boots, coveralls. I was constantly buying new clothing because it was so dirty. I had to pay for it. Mind you, they paid me like very good money for a guy who had no education. I think for those kind of jobs, the employer, if they provided you like a not unlimited supply, but they'll give you like 1 pair of boots per year, maybe 1 per every 2 years. So you still got to take care of it. Maybe they give you coveralls once every 3 years, and new shirts every 3 months. So whatever it is, like if you get dirty, that would definitely make it like. Don't complain about people not applying for jobs. It's because you don't make the job appealing enough for people to apply, you dummy. It's your fault, you stupid idiot. It's not rocket science. The other advantage of something like that too is that if you were a company that operated an oil rig or something, you'd be able to get volume discounts. You could actually have your own boot shop. You could literally buy wholesale several sizes of boots and just take orders, right? Steel toe boots. Do not work on an oil rig without steel toe boots. You know, a big joke is someone will, and we would do this sometimes. And there was sometimes you catch a guy who didn't have steel toe boots, and you know what I mean. Or you take a hammer, the guy shows up first day on the oil rig, and you figure out if he has steel toe boots. You don't hammer. You don't want to damage the boot, but if he doesn't, yeah, that's the first lesson on why you should wear steel toe boots. So I just keep that in mind. Some jobs are like that. And maybe there's some people who have jobs like that watching this show. Who knows? Probably 9 out of 10 have steel toe boots. But now and then some guy, they come from a different planet, would show up in the factory, and it wasn't a factory. Well, actually, when we did some of the oil rig construction in a factory. Like I worked in the factory too, where we before you go and drill in the summer, they come into the shop and you rebuild them in spring. So there was some segments you're actually in the factory, and yes, it was funny stuff. I'm sure there's other people. If you do that, comment below. If you do that at your workplace where you hammer a new guy's, tell us to see if the steel toe. Tell me the trouble you got. Again, I'm 50 years old. I used to do this when I was in my 20s. And maybe that's illegal now. I don't know. When I was a kid, we would get onto back of cars and ride them in winter. I think that's illegal in some cities where you can get fined, but what are you going to do with kids? But I know kids don't do it anymore because kids nowadays are just soft, and that's why the best and the smartest survived in my age group, the Generation X, because there's a bit of a filtering process. You know, a lot of the kids were left to the wild, and yeah, if you wanted to ride on the back of a truck or a car and they just pull you for half a block till they notice you and get angry and say, "Get off my car." But that's what I would do. And then when I was a teenager, got my driver's license, tied a a sled to the back of the car and just, first you go slow, 10, 20 miles an hour, and then you just unleash until the thing rips to pieces and you wipe off onto the dish. That was kind of what you did as a kid. That's how you had fun before the internet. And most of us made it, and some of us have brain damage. So that's just how it worked. Okay, how are our la-di-da apartments going here? Going good. I think we're going to get those done. Just like Biffa coffee, right? Actually, you know what? Tea does have quite a bit of caffeine in it. Some teas I think can have more caffeine than coffee. So you shouldn't say, well, what's the point of tea, right? When you don't know what type of tea that is. I just get the cheapest coffee I can. I think it has a good amount of caffeine. I make a big pot and I leave it out for days. Let's have a quick peek on our railroad here. We haven't been watching our trains here. Are they okay? Oh yeah, they're doing some work here. These guys, they're not running over each other. That's kind of good. Kind of good. We could probably put a little... Shit, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't touch anything. If it's working nicely, it's working nicely. No one's shown up to process the gravel. Okay, let's go back to cutting more jobs. Cutting more jobs. Austerity. The Lord of the Flies. Soon you'll be left with nothing. Maybe in this one here, we'll go down to 36. This one here, we'll go down to 36. Just a few extra jobs so that maybe those workers will show up actually. And it could be that our FEMA work is taking up some of our workers too. Let's see where we're getting our workers. We're getting them from Hollywood. Has Hollywood got any workers? Yeah, they do. Actually, you know what? I got an idea. I've been meaning to talk about the prison workers game mechanic. If you're new to the game, or if you've been playing this for hundreds of hours and you thought, hey, what's a prison bus do? Well, apparently, if you have a prison and you have prisoners in your prison, you can set up a route with a prison bus that picks up workers at the prison and drops it directly to factories. So right now, we're having an issue where we don't have enough gravel processing workers. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to alter this route, this prison worker route, to go to the prison and go to the gravel recycling plant. And I'm going to say, don't go to these other ones. Let's not go to the fancy workplaces. Let's go to the gravel recycling plant and the scrap yard. These will be the jobs for prison workers. Okay? So that's the new route. This bus, again, it's a prison bus. You get these, I don't know if Western nations sell them. Let's just see if we got a used one here. A used prison bus. Oh, maybe we do. What is this? 13 passengers. That's a big one. Let's buy that one. Because we don't have enough workers showing up at our gravel recycling plant. So let's get ourselves a used prison bus here. And we'll eventually repair it. And yeah, that's something I did not know about. I didn't know how prison buses work in this game. I played this for such a long time. And there you go. That's how it works. You can also encourage more crime this way. Okay, let's find this bus as it comes out. And we'll make this one also. Oops. There we go. Oh, we got a traffic jam. I'm gonna have to pause for a second. See what's going on with the traffic jam here. Oh yeah. See, this is the chain effect. This is the butterfly effect I was telling you about. Yes, the whole world is screwed right now. Okay, I don't even know how I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to have to use a temporary dump for now because there is no obvious solution to this. I think I have some unlocked. I try to keep the free dumps unused so that in an emergency, if I have to build one, see if we can fit one in here. No, let's put it here. We used to have one here before. Let's put it back in. we're going to have to make everything use this dump for now, because everything is screwed up. This garbage supply route, every one of these trucks needs to get sent somewhere else. Let's see, this guy has to go here. This guy has to go here. Yeah, I have to deal with this. It's just going to get worse. See, now we have no garbage pickup. This could end civilization as we know it. That's just how it works. So we got to stop having our garbage delivered. Because we can't even... Normally what I do is I increase the workers at the garbage processing. But I can't because the buffers are all jammed. We got to find out every one of these vehicles and put them somewhere where they can't cause more trouble. This one here can go there. And this one here, can it also go there? Yes, it can. That's good. Okay, so we're not delivering garbage anymore. And we're going to have to say, like, all of a sudden this little dump's going to be completely full. And it's going to take a long time to empty out, but it's the least of our problems. So we're going to then set this to the destination for a bit until we sort this problem out. It might be nice to have a little backup garbage buffer, but when you load without a claw machine, it's so inefficient. It's just so bad. So we got to send our new mixed waste destination. I think some of our FEMA projects we're adding to that filled up a lot faster than it normally would. So we're going to do that. And we have one more over here. And I think we have a route that's also automatically delivering there too. But I'll let that just keep going. I think it can... Okay, that should fix everything. Everything will fix itself here. Sorta. Let's see, like we now have 2 prison buses, right? We should have 2 prison worker buses. This guy's heading to the prison. That gravel's gonna get processed, I tell you. These people gotta show up and do other work. I don't know why they're all spending their time in university here. Yeah, I think maybe a few too many doctors still. Too many people prescribing pills that cause problems, then prescribing pills that solve the problem. How are we doing for this here? Is this getting... Oh, this isn't ready to be rebuilt yet. Okay, this has too much staff. Cut staff there. As these apartments fill up, though, the demand on the school will go up, so I don't want to cut too much just yet. Maybe go down to 5. Oh, there's a fire somewhere. I should probably look at that, but everything's chaos right now. Let's see here. Where's that? Cement plant. That's a strange place for a fire. Oh, I think we'll just see how that works out. I won't add any extra workers. That gravel, I don't know why. They won't go to work in the gravel facility. Oh, no. There they go. Some of them are working. Some of them are working. And then as soon as this gets reduced, actually, we're going to really, really escalate this. Because we got a huge backlog of mixed waste. I do not want to put much in here. This is only a temporary thing with free dump here. We want to get as many workers as possible processing that mixed waste. I'm going to tell you my idea for how to get homeless people to work more. Okay, this is my idea. Quite often people complain about homeless people who have a drug addiction usually. And usually it's a bad drug. A lot of homeless people actually try to contribute. Like they'll pick up cans and stuff like that. And they do little things, but there's no structure to them and no one... Like they're drug addicts. They have an addictive nature. So my idea to make it so that we can get some homeless people to work is little shops that allow homeless people to work there in exchange for weed. You give them weed and then they show up for work. And the boss shows up with a bag of weed and says, here's your weed for your shift. And maybe they get a little bit of money too, but they're allowed to work while high. And I think this has 2 benefits. First off, they could earn a little bit of money and be productive as well. Like they might clean things up. They might be street cleaners. They might, but you're allowed to do it while high. this would encourage them to do it. If you have this criteria where they can't take drugs, they're going to just take the worst drugs and be a much worse problem. So just be reasonable. Just give them weed, nothing worse, right? And I think the other benefit to this too is it kind of like if you're high on weed all the time, you're not going to be able to get the cravings for other drugs. So it could actually legitimately solve worse addiction problems. So, my theory is if you give homeless people free weed, but allow them to do that jobs while high on their weed, they will then be able to wean themselves off worse drugs and become a bit more of a contributing member of society. But these rich idiots in charge of things with the strict rules don't understand this, and we might never see that. And their ignorance will cost the lives of a lot of people, and that's just the reality of it. But if there is someone out there listening to that idea, it has a shop in an area, like, hey, why don't I just try this out, get some weed and give it to some people, and you clean up around here, or you just do some task you don't have to be super mentally focused for something. Maybe it's an accounting task or an accounting job, who knows, right? Something that's not essential, but someone has to do it. I think this would be a good use of it. That's my solution, to get more homeless people to work and to wean them off hard drugs. Okay, let's see what we're doing. Oh, we ran out of money while it was blabbing. Took a chance. Ooh, we really ran out of money. I went too long. I gambled. But I gotta do a show. It's worth it for the speech. And we'll just talk about UBI for the last bit here. Probably talk about that in a few minutes here. We're not going to get anything scrapped, I don't think. Nothing got scrapped. None of our trucks. We never even had time to grab our dumpers. So much for scrapping the dumpers here. But we'll see. This will be an ongoing thing. Remember, we have the 7 numbered dumpers. Which ones will last? Which one will be the last remaining? I think number 7. 7 will be the last remaining, because the first one's pretty old. Are we going to build our buildings on time? We always build our buildings on time. We never fail with that. We were having some prefab panel worker shortages. Gravel's getting processed again. But they're not doing these other jobs, these other critical jobs, because they were doing too many of the fancy jobs. Everyone wanted a fancy job. I don't know where else to cut jobs here. Those are the main culprits. Maybe we got too many here. Let's go down to 18. 18 at the sports hall. Like it looks like they're way over supplied in terms of staffing. I think for this episode, I want to see these built, and that's going to be it. This scrapping, too many things went wrong. The earthquake. I thought we could safely do this episode because we had an earthquake not too long ago, and it does really disrupt your economy, even though it wasn't too disastrous. Oh, we can even rebuild this. Hold on. We do need this, and this actually has a butterfly effect. There's people that work here who can't work because their kindergarten's gone. Maybe they were working in places we needed them, right? So let's reassign this to construction offices. We'll set this to high priority. And there was another building here we lost. We lost a heat plant somewhere here. We're going to need that built. If you've been watching the previous episodes, the best way to do heat exchanger systems is to go through a heat pump station, have a 300 cubic meter line in, and then spread out 3 smaller ones to more precisely target. But if you're right in the, kind of in downtown anyways, it's probably not as beneficial. The heat, actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to just pause that. I'll think about that between episodes. Let's just get this bloody kindergarten built first. Because actually, as I'm talking, I'm like, well, I could put one there. Put one there. Maybe one here. Maybe it could be done, right? But I have to analyze the pipe underground, and it may or may not be doable. So I don't think anything's going to get demolished. Well, there we go. Something was getting demolished. One open hull truck was going to get it. Oh, here's our list of trucks. So this provides us with the stuff we need to keep our economy sustainable, right? And I want to talk about UBI. The number one rule for a new UBI plan in America. What do you think it is? What do you think the number one rule for UBI in America is? Here's how I think UBI should be done in America today. I've actually written about this in the past, many, many years ago, completely ignored by authority figures. But what do you think the number one rule is for a UBI system? Here's what I think it is. It must be easy to administer. That's the number one rule. If it's too complicated, if you have too many rules, it will not work. So that's the number one rule. It must be easy to administer. At any given time, maybe up to a dozen rules, and anything else that can't fit within the definition of a UBI system. Again, universal basic income. Other systems need to develop to account for it. But UBI itself needs to be simple. Rule 1. Rule 2. Only registered US citizens may collect it. This solves multiple problems. This way people trying to immigrate, and when they don't have their paperwork ready or they're not invited to work, you won't get UBI because you're not a citizen. Of course, you can apply to be a citizen. You can do a job. Maybe you put your years in. But understand, when you come to America, you're not going to be taking the best jobs from Americans. That no American's going to be happy about that. Just understand that. Maybe you'll be a little bit reluctant to visit, right? And it will help so many issues. It will motivate so many people to get their paperwork done because you could get UBI. And becoming a registered citizen might involve you having to work a certain amount before you become eligible. Maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, I don't know. Maybe you need more than one sponsor. Whatever the rules are for becoming a citizen, but that would be one of the rules for Rule 2 for universal basic income. And Rule 3 is it must offer extra awards for being law-abiding and for being employed. That's Rule 3. So maybe you collect $1,200 a month, base amount. You just got out of prison. You don't want to commit some more crimes. Maybe you get an extra $300 a month for being law-abiding. Maybe most people get $1,500, but if you commit a crime, you lose $300 a month, and it integrates into the penal system so that rather than sending people to jail, wasting more taxpayer dollars and more taxpayer dollars policing these people, we simply say, you commit a crime, you get paid less. So it actually saves money on the economy if you commit crimes rather than costing you the taxpayer money for criminal activity. You motivate people not to commit crimes. And then there's lots of companies, especially small businesses, medium businesses, that can't get enough workers right now. So imagine the UBI paid $400 extra per month for being part-time on the payroll, or $800 a month for being full-time on the payroll. You could get, let's say it's $400 for being law-abiding. You start at $1,200 base amount, $400 for being law-abiding, and an extra $800 for having an actual job, because it will reward you for getting a job. You're getting $2,400 a month for a minimum wage job. That works out to basically, let's see, probably close to $30,000 on top of your minimum wage salary, which, you're going to be able to afford a car. You can afford your rent. Small businesses can afford to hire you now because there's going to be a lot of people applying for these jobs because people are going to want to work because universal basic income offers higher basic premiums for workers. Duh. And all these people are against universal basic income that never thought of this. And imagine all the millions of lives wasted due to stupidity. But this, I believe, is the way universal basic income should be done. I've written about this. Of course, not many people read my articles. They ignore it, obviously, because we're controlled by rich people. And this would require the extremely wealthy people, the people who don't want anything to ever change, even if it destroys the planet. They don't want this to happen. They'd rather 99% of us suffer at their expense. And universal basic income is, as you know, an alternative way to seeding the system of money. The alternative is you can give bank bailouts and believe in trickle down economic lies, which are lies. I've discussed how that doesn't work in the past. And there's many other ways that the rich will just take that money through government contracts otherwise. But I say put it into the hands of people and let the people decide where the economy grows. I think affordable housing and food and just general quality of life transportation are where it would go naturally. So that's my argument. Those are the three basic rules of UBI. Okay, let's see here. Oh, are we out of money? Yes, we are. And I did it again. Not too bad. We're getting up there in time. We can't make these shows too long. And look at that. La-di-da apartments are done. People hopefully will start moving here, and they'll be closer to the work area. How's our gravel? Our buffer? It's emptied out. Okay, that's good. This has to. Okay, this has gone down too. We can lower these workers. Some of the scrapping. Okay, I think we're going to scrap one vehicle. You know, I would have guessed. I never would have guessed we would only get one in the episode. You never know, right? It's weird things happen in the show. At least we're not wasting hours. Not hours, but last episode I wasted. Remember the train issue? See, remember how they're constantly getting stuck? They're finally working smoothly. See how far this train worker's gotten. Oh, maybe not totally smooth. Let's see. See, there is a situation. Oh, yeah, this little bit here is a little tricky. Little tricky. Let's see. And this guy. Oh, and then they're blocking off the workers. So, yeah, let's just call them all back and start that over because now they'll never work. I think we checked on that. Call all vehicles home. I've learned that between episodes too. And now the workers can get in. And let's just see our one vehicle got scrapped. Yeah, it's done. Starting on the next one. Okay, so people are starting to show up in this district here. We solved our austerity problem. We got rid of the overpaid workers and we got the required workers in instead. I think we're going to call that an episode. We've covered everything we needed here. Hope you enjoyed it. You know, leave lots of comments below. Remember, Lord of the Flies. Whoever comments the most is Lord of the Flies. Maybe I'll put you in the description. I'll say the current Lord of the Flies. Every now and then, every year or so, I'll update it. Let's get the most comments ever on a video. This one here. This particular video. To see how it works. So this is the Lord of the Flies. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week.